All right, so one of the things that I watched in 2022 was Milo Murphy's Law, seasons 1 to 2. Originally I started watching this show when it first came out. I think it was in 2016, was it? And because I was a big fan of Phineas and Ferb. I watched like all of it when it was airing, and so I thought, Milo Murphy's Law being made by basically the same people, implied to be set in the same universe as Phineas and Ferb, so I was interested in watching it. But, like, I stopped watching the show because after the first few episodes, my interest sort of dropped off because, well, for one thing, because I really didn't want to wait week for week. This was sort of in the period where I was sort of like moving away from watching stuff weekly and just sort of gotten to my gotten my binging phase, which I'm still in, so it's not really a phase because I don't know, binging stuff is just easier. But anyway, so another thing that really stopped me from keeping watching Milo Murphy's Law is just like, I don't know, like, I love Phineas and Ferb, but Milo Murphy's Law just didn't have the same draw as Phineas and Ferb did. I don't know, it just didn't appeal to me as much. I think that it's just that Milo Murphy's Law is not quite as funny as Phineas and Ferb. So that is one thing that an issue I have with it. But also the songs in Milo Murphy's Law, they're just much less iconic than in Phineas and Ferb, because Phineas and Ferb had some absolutely great musical numbers. Like, so many of them are just so incredibly memorable. And with Milo Murphy's Law, I mean, it's just like, I don't know, a lot of them I can't really remember so well, and I wouldn't play back often. So those are two things that just I think make Milo Murphy's Law not quite as good as Phineas and Ferb. There are some legitimately. I don't want to undersell Milo Murphy's Law though, because it's not like it's bad, and there are some legitimately funny moments in the show, that I really did laugh at. I mean, remember in episode 2 with episode 2 of the show with that teacher who was that teacher who was obsessing over her beautiful wooden desk, and how she stayed up for hours with it, and that was I can't believe the show actually got away with that joke. But well, it's Table Coon all over again. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, I do like Milo Murphy's Law, and I think there are some aspects that it actually did somewhat better than Phineas and Ferb. And one of the things that I appreciated is that Milo Murphy's Law actually tried to shake up the status quo with what he was doing, because obviously in Phineas and Ferb, it was an extremely formulaic show, and but the fun part about Phineas and Ferb was that it constantly did all these really cool things with the the formula, and was very self-aware, where you would have this one episode where Dr. Doofenshmirtz would point out to Perry the Platypus that oh, we always do things in the exact same order, which means I'm going to shake this up this time and do things in a different order. And it's Phineas and Ferb was really clever that way, and I feel like it almost never got stale because of its just complete complete self-awareness in how it was following a formula, and constantly doing fun things with it like that. But yeah, but I like with because I like that Milo Murphy's Law is not exactly the same, because when you first start the series, you think oh, so there's going to be there's sort of this formula where obviously with Milo, things keep going wrong around him, and then it introduces these characters called Cavendish and Dakota, who are trying to save these pistachio plants. And it seems like the formula is going to be that Milo is constantly going to keep them failing in their mission because of everything that goes wrong about him, and that he keeps running into them. But then in episode 8, I think it was, that basically because Cavendish and Dakota try to investigate Milo, because he keeps they think like he's a secret agent who is trying to thwart their plans. But then in episode 8 or so, or I don't remember which episode it is of season 1, they just like go up and talk to him and ask like, hey, are you trying to stop us? And he's like, no, I'm not doing anything intentionally. That's honestly like a really great moment for me, because it's just like, you so don't expect it with how like the original Phineas and Ferb went, with like Candace like never getting to bust her mother, sorry, not bust her mother, bust her brothers to her mother, Doofenshmirtz never really succeeding in the end, and those two plot lines never really come into contact. But you just see like in Milo Murphy's Law, where Cavendish's Coda just like literally ask Milo, and it's like the simplest thing in the world. So that was honestly really funny to me, and I really like I actually really like the whole pistachio plotline that they did in season 1, where it's pretty cool, and they play with time travel a lot in this series, and I really like that, because like honestly, all the time travel jokes in the show are just like incredibly clever, and I love the incredibly inventive scenarios they do with it, and the ongoing mystery that they have with a lot of things, and how they sort of wrap everything together. So I really like the whole pistachio plotline in season 1, and I think that anytime they cut back to it was when the show was at its most interesting. I will say though that I don't think the alien, so basically they wrapped up the pistachio plotline in the season 2 premiere, which was the Phineas and Ferb effect, obviously, but I don't really think that the alien plotline that was majorly focused on in season 2 was nearly as interesting. I will say I don't think that in regards to season 2, I don't think it was quite as good as season 1 was, and I think season 2 drags in a lot of places and seems to have a lot of filler that doesn't really focus on anything important. And I guess, like, again, it is sort of, like, again, there is an ongoing plotline in Milo Murphy's Law, but it is still somewhat episodic. But I feel like in season 2, it just felt like a lot of episodes were wasting time, especially near the end. Like, for example, near the second half of season 2, the character Cavendish gets stuck in a spaceship, and it takes like a good while to actually get back to that plot point, despite the fact that like there was a very easy way for his partner Dakota to like find out about it immediately. And I just feel like season 2 really dragged its feet in a lot of places when it could have had a more quick pace, but chose not to. So anyway, so that does bother me. Talking about some more other aspects of the series, like Milo Murphy, the main character, like he's cool, and I do like him, because he is so like endlessly optimistic, and I do like characters like that where I don't know, Milo Murphy is just like a very sort of he's the character that sort of is meant to inspire the audience, because he has like all of these unlike Phineas and Ferb, who they generally got by pretty easy in life. With Milo, he's just has all these horrible things going wrong in his life, but he still manages to keep a smile on his face, like all the time, and I do like that. And I did think that when I was first watching the Milo Murphy's Law series when it first came out, I did think that that was one of the best aspects of the series, where normally when you have all these characters. Normally when you have all these characters who like have bad luck happen to them so often, like they're usually like miserable, and they think that I wish my life were different, and I wish it wasn't like this. But with Milo, he's like totally fine with it, and he's like, I think it makes life more interesting, and it's more of a challenge this way. And I do like that. It's a very interesting thing that you don't normally see with characters like that. But here's the downside of Milo's character, which is that like he doesn't really have any main goals or desires, and like I don't know, he's just not a very active character. Like with Phineas and Ferb, they had like this goal in the summer of like creating all these awesome inventions, and with Milo, he doesn't really have a goal. He's just kind of like going through life with things happening to him rather than him making things happen. And I don't know, and the other thing I feel like is, even though it's great to have a character be so like optimistic with the circumstances, I feel like there should have been moments where Milo Murphy actually had these moments where he did really struggle with things, and he did really actually get upset, even if he would try to keep put a happy spin on things all the time. There should have been like some moments where, you know, there were maybe serious consequences to his bad luck, and you know, he would actually be upset about them, because it just feels like you know, I don't know, it just feels like they could have done more with the whole. They could have done more to actually have, you know, drama and actual real character development come out of Milo Murphy's circumstances, and his, you know, his drive to always, you know, try to look for the best in things and create some circumstances of actual, like, you know, of actual drama where, like, he would, you know, where he would be, like, you know, where he would be upset about, like, the things that are happening to his friends and to him, where, like, he would find it extremely difficult to put a positive spin on everything happening around him. But that just never happens in the series. And I feel like with Milo Murphy's Law, like, you know, Milo Murphy's Law, like, sort of creates all these inconveniences, but never any actual real lasting consequences, which is something that I think is a missed opportunity. Now, obviously, it's a kid's show, so obviously you can't, like, give, like, you can't kill characters or anything like that, but I feel like it's just a missed opportunity, and I feel like while I appreciate the sort of positive spin that they put on Milo Murphy's outlook, they could have done more to actually make him a more interesting character, rather than just, like, a fun character that, I don't know. So that does bother me. In regards to other characters, the character Zach, honestly, I barely even care about him at all. Like, honestly, I do not find him very interesting as a character. He's kind of lame. Like, I don't know. I just did not find Zach very interesting. But anyway, Melissa is one character that I have to say I loved. Like, Milo's, you know, Milo's friend. I absolutely loved her character. Like, she is best girl for sure. Like, because, you know, way better than, because in Phineas and Ferb, like, Candace was an entertaining character, but she was just not a very likable one. Melissa is extremely likable, and I, like, pretty much liked whenever she was on screen and in focus, because, like, you know, she's just very cool and chill in so many ways, whereas Candace was, like, so neurotic. But at the same time, like, with Melissa, she's not, like, this totally perfect cool girl, and she also has these, like, tics and neurotic quirks that also make her feel like, and flaws that make her feel you know, like an actual real person, but just a real person that you would really want to hang out with in real life, because you know, she's just really cool, and I really like the writing for her character. So I really like Melissa. I think she's probably my favorite character in this series. So yeah, there's that. So but I actually might have lied, because I feel like there might be one character that I do like more than Melissa, and that is Elliot the Crossing Guard. Elliot the Crossing Guard is iconic. He's such an entertaining character. And the funny thing is, like, he might be the side character that the show gives the most focus to, despite him not being, like, super important. And that's how you know, like, the showrunners knew what they were doing, because they chose to give a lot of focus that was not necessary to a character that is really good and really funny. And I don't know, Elliot the Crossing Guard is just so funny. He's like, he has so many hilarious moments with this character. I just really like him. So yeah, Elliot the Crossing Guard is iconic. We stan Elliot. Although I will say, I don't really like Bradley very much. You know, the school bully who's, I mean, he's not really even a bully. I mean, like, I don't know. One of the things that was strange to me is that, like, a lot of people are in agreement with me that Elliot the Crossing Guard is great, but a lot of people also really like Bradley as a character. And I don't know. I mean, like, I never really liked Bradley very much. Like, he's just sort of this vaguely snooty character who doesn't have a really strong presence in any way. He, like, I don't know, because I feel like with Elliot the Crossing Guard, he's a much more active antagonist to Milo and the group, where he's, like, constantly obsessing over trying to keep everyone safe, and, like, but with Bradley, you know, like, he's not really, like, that actively antagonistic to Milo, and doesn't really have, like, these strong, I don't know, he doesn't really have these strong, you know, he doesn't really have these strong oppositions to him, and, like, I don't know, his character just felt kind of watered down to me. Like, he was just sort of, had these vague, you know, he had these vague, like, kind of issues with Milo that he brought up every now and then, but I don't know. I just didn't really find him very interesting, or really that funny either. So, yeah, didn't really like Bradley. So, In regards to, I guess I should talk about the Phineas and Ferb characters, who obviously crossed over with the Milo Murphy's Law cast. So, the Phineas and Ferb effect, which was the season 2 premiere, was honestly the best episode of Milo Murphy's Law. And, I really like the Phineas and Ferb effect, because I feel like it was everything I wanted out of a crossover and more, because, it showed how, all the characters really worked off each other very well from both shows. And, and again, it's the Phineas and Ferb cast coming back, and I really liked it. And it had a lot of great action, it had a lot of great story, it had a lot of really great character moments, and twists, and I just really liked the Phineas and Ferb effect. It was very well done, and I feel like it was a really great crossover. And again, it wasn't forced in or anything, and it also wasn't irrelevant filler. It was actually built up to and everything, and I just Phineas and Ferb effect was great. But I will say, it is, sort of telling that, the best episode of the show was a Phineas and Ferb crossover, because this is one thing that I feel like was sort of, in regards to Milo Murphy's Law, it did bank on a lot of nostalgia for Phineas and Ferb, because, and again, like I said before, Phineas and Ferb, I think, is the better show than Milo Murphy's Law, because Milo Murphy's Law had some good aspects. It had a few things that I think were done better than in Phineas and Ferb, but it just could never really, I don't know, Milo Murphy's Law could never really stand up to the heights that its predecessor, Phineas and Ferb, reached. So, and here's the other thing that bothers me. If you are going to do this thing where you make Milo Murphy's Law and Phineas and Ferb and join them sort of into one and have them exist in the same world, why did we never see the Phineas and Ferb characters again after the season 2 premiere? We never saw them again. I mean, sure, there was Doofenshmirtz, and he sort of became a member of the main cast, but I'm talking about Phineas and Ferb and Candace and Isabella. Why did we never see them again, those characters, after the season 2 premiere? I just feel like that's sort of a wasted opportunity, where you introduce them and then you never do anything with them again in this series. I don't know, it's just bothered me. And again, I don't think this show, it's not that it's bad on its own, without referring back to Phineas and Ferb nostalgia, but it's also just not quite as interesting. I don't know, especially in season 2, where I don't feel like a lot of the episodes were quite as good as in season 1. I feel like, in regards to Milo Murphy's Law, it's not a bad show. It's really not. It has some very good aspects in it, and I'm glad I saw it, and I'm glad that the team that worked on Phineas and Ferb was able to work on this show. But, I feel like the show Milo Murphy's Law could sometimes be really good. It could sometimes have really good episodes. It could sometimes have really good humor. It could sometimes have really clever scenarios. But other times, it was just kind of boring to watch. A lot of the episodes, I don't really have any strong feeling to return to or anything, because, they just felt kind of skippable and not really that entertaining. So, and I think that's sort of the issue with the show, is that it was very inconsistent, and sometimes it could be really good and really funny, and other times, kind of boring, honestly. And so I feel like if you're a fan of Phineas and Ferb, then, maybe you should check this out. It does have some good stuff in it. But anyway, that was just, or if you're not a fan of Phineas and Ferb, I mean, I don't know, you might not understand some of the things in the references, but whatever. So anyway, this show's good. It's not great, but it is good, and I think it is worth checking out, probably. But anyway, that's just my opinion. Feel free to post comments down below. Please be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe. This has been the Aromantic Shipper, and as always, remember, just because you can't feel loved doesn't mean you shouldn't want other people to. Bye.